What's up, everybody? Happy August 5th. It's a Wednesday. I knew that. We have a whole lot of sports today. Baseball, basketball, DFS stacked for the last couple days, as it will continue to be for the next month or two. And today's no different. We got a ton of baseball on today's slate. And of course, me personally, I had to get up extra early today to try to beat the sun. Because the Yankees have to make up a postponed game. And not only do they have to make up one, they have to play two. So I'm going to have early Yankee games to watch. And hopefully we take a doubleheader sweep against the Phillies here. That'll be fun. But because of that, I'm going to try and get this baseball video out the way early. Still going to try and get an NBA stream up. We are pumping out content, super motivated, and it's just been a successful start to the double season yesterday. Another fun day for baseball. Basketball is a little wonky, man. Miami with the midday scratch of Jimmy Butler. Couple of surprises and a couple of letdowns in that Houston game. And then we're just seeing some real-life basketball shenanigans. If you guys saw the Nets and the Bucks, the starters, I kind of thought that the starters could rest, but then just Brook Lopez rested, and they ended up playing Giannis and Middleton, and the true starters for like the first half. It was such a troll job, but what are you gonna do? We're not here to talk about basketball, though. We are here to talk about baseball. So if you guys are new to the channel and you are MLB DFS enthusiasts, welcome aboard. My name is Gun, twitter.com/GundackerSports. If you guys ever want to interact with me on Twitter, that's the place to do it. I'm pretty open. My DMs are open. Would be glad to make some new friends. I forgot to turn my air conditioner off. Chat, let me know if it's too loud. I usually turn it off so we don't have extra audio stuff in the background. So that's my bad. Hopefully you guys bear with me. I do live in Texas, you know what I'm saying? It gets a little hot. But anyway, we got several games on the main slate today. There are a couple early games if you guys wanted to dabble with the early. But I'm just going to cover the main slate today and get it out the way. Get it researched, get my player pool developed, and then focus on basketball for a little bit. So if you guys, you newer members, want to help me out and subscribe to the channel, share some love, hit that thumbs up. We will be using the RunDFS.com MLB VIP spreadsheet throughout the duration of this stream. And if you guys want access to this spreadsheet, I believe it's one of the most powerful daily research tools that you guys can have. Because it's a great way to bridge the gap between the casual fan, the new DFS MLB player, and the really deep analytical mind. We've color-coded a lot of the most pertinent stats, my favorite stats, advanced metrics, and then, of course, we're very split-centric, but I break it down to pitch types. I break it down I got a bomb detector, so if you guys are looking for guys that project the best for homers and stuff like that, I have a whole video about some of the features of the spreadsheet, but I really think it's a super, super powerful tool for you guys to be able to use in building your daily MLB DFS lineups. You might be hearing a kitten meow in the background. My sister took on a basket of kittens yesterday and rehomed all but one, but then had to go out of town. So she asked me to kind of babysit this kitten overnight. Cute little guy, hasn't really talked all night, but all of a sudden he's meowing now. So my bad on the kitten ambiance in the meantime. But anyway, if you guys want access to the spreadsheet, you can do so with a premium subscription at RunDFS.com. Go to RunDFS.com, make yourself an account, click VIP passes, and get signed up. This will bring you into access to this VIP forum. You click VIP threads. Are you kidding me with this cat? Like, really? And click the onboarding thread. There's a couple links there, links to the spreadsheets, and then a link to the 24/7 premium VIP Discord. And this is the mothership, the hoverboard for 60, 70 plus daily grinders, all different bankroll levels. We saw so many screenshots yesterday. I showed you guys at the top of the NBA video. We had people winning 10 plus thousand. We had ECW drop a 2K win on like less than $20, and guys grinding all, and girls grinding all different levels. If you guys want access to this, it is also a perk of having a subscription. And then, of course, we'll have multiple daily voice chats before main slate locks, and you guys can grab a mic, jump in on the conversation, or just eavesdrop, just listen in, whatever you want, and be part of the community, man. We'd love to have you. Let's get cranked up. Game number one, the 8-2 Twins continue games against the 2-8 Pittsburgh Pirates. Our pitching matchup for this one, Randy Dobnak up against Trevor Williams. Dobnak's 1-1 on the season with a 1.0 ERA. He grew up in Pittsburgh area and attended dozens of Pirates games every year in his youth. His first start against his hometown team comes after he has allowed 1 run over 9 innings and 2 starts while he fills in for Jake Odorizzi in the rotation. Trevor Williams 0-2 with a 5.4 ERA. He wasn't hit particularly hard Friday against the Cubs. Aside from 1 solo shot, he struck out 6 and 4 2/3 innings, but he once again didn't work deep into the game, and his 3 walks came back to haunt him. On the Vegas side of things, the Twins have a 5.1 implied run total. The Pirates, just 4 implied runs. Twins a -166 favorite. Temps in the low 80s. Pirates, look at all this red here. Batting really bad to start the season. Under 165 collectively against righties on the season. Batting with no power, under 300 slugging, under 500 OPS, almost a 100 ISO, team ISO, and almost a 28% K rate as a team against righties so far. This has been a rough start, and it's not looking good for the Pirates. Randy Dobnak does have a little bit of propensity to make my lineups here. We gotta pull up his card here on DraftKings. I'm gonna see what pitches, how many pitches he got to. 94 pitches last time, 5 innings. Man, if I could even then, like that's a solid shot at 100, a full start here. So Dobnak at 7,200 may not be a crazy start to this slate if you're trying to build a pitching pool. We might dive a little deeper into his game log metrics here. I remember watching him in the playoffs last year against the Yankees. The fun story about him was he used to be an Uber driver as he grinded his way back to the big leagues. He had a 3.31 xFIP against Cleveland, 3.44 against the White Sox. And I'll tell you what, White Sox and Cleveland, hey, that's a tough first 2 matchups here, and he held his own. I'll absolutely be on board the Dobnak train here, train here against a lowly Pirates team. Plate discipline looking like 11.7% swing and strike rate against Cleveland, 12% against White Sox. Yeah, no, for sure. Sign me up here. I'm interested. Dobnak making the player pool. Trevor Williams, you did your thing, dog, but that's going to be a no for me. No reason for me to get down there on him. He has limped into this season with power problems to both sides of the plate. This is an extremely powerful Twins offense. No matter what park there is, they are in. Even though it's a pitcher-friendly PNC park, I will continue to be seeking out Twins as a near daily stack in my day-to-day lineup construction, and I think today will be no different. Give me everyone. A 4.7 xFIP to righties last year, 6+ xFIP to lefties so far. Hard contact, for what it's worth, it hasn't been a problem even like this year, but going back to the last couple seasons, like he has an elevated home run rate, but the hard contact is actually below league average. A little bit surprising there, but a high line drive rate last year to lefties. And I guess just a high enough fly ball rate to let it happen. So I'm there on the Twins here. I'll always be there on the Twins. The Pirates bullpen doesn't scare me, so you can give me Twin stacks. Give me some Dobnak. I'm gonna be out on Pirates early for sure. Looking at the live chat here. What up, Jason? What up, Darian? Meow. That cat makes you soft gun. I mean, I don't intend on keeping it. I mean, it's a chill cat. A lot of kittens are little brats. They scratch stuff. I don't know. This guy's been chilling all night, but I don't know. All of a sudden, he started chirping while I got a hot mic. What are you gonna do? Dobnock's low key been solid in his 2 stars and get I'm in on Dobnock here. I don't mind that at all. Let's move on to the next game. The Reds at the Cleveland Indians. The Reds back on a main slate, man. It feels like they've been popping off on all these early and afternoon slates. They don't catch the main, but unfortunately now they catch a pitcher that I don't really want to go out of my way to pick on. The starting pitching matchup here is going to be T.J. Antone up against Mike Clevenger. Antone is making his first big league start. In his debut on July 27th, he delivered 4 1/3 innings of relief with 1 hit, a home run allowed to the Cubs. The righty is the organization's number 24 prospect per MLB Pipeline. I did watch that little stint from him because I had some Cubs stacks that night. I had some Red stacks that night. And he showed flashes of greatness, but did allow a lot of hard outs. Mike Clevenger pitching for the Indians here. 4.91 ERA, 0-1 with 11 strikeouts. The Indians' remarkable run of dominant starts ended with an ineffective outing by Clevenger on Friday at Minnesota, in which he yielded 4 runs on 6 hits with 5 walks and 5 strikeouts over 4 innings. The 5 walks is probably the most stunning number there. This is a guy that has thrown strikes more often than not, just a 7.4% walk rate last season and a whip almost at 1. So I do like Clevenger to kind of get right here against a Reds team that does offer a little bit of strikeout potential. There's still a Reds team that I like as like a Cinderella fantasy team, you know. Votto, Castellanos, Mike Moustakas, Eugenio Suarez, Jesse Winker even. Like they have some fun DFS names, and Castellanos has been red hot, to say the least, the last couple games. But I do think Clevenger at 9-2 has the ability to be the highest scoring pitcher on this slate, and I'm really not going to fault him for a bad game against the Minnesota Twins. As I said before, Twins are a really, really, really tough team. Antone does feel like we shouldn't expect him to go super deep into a game, even though he did throw, 4 innings against the Cubs, threw 69 pitches there, so maybe 80 pitches is something in the wheelhouse, but it has been that's 27, so maybe he did have a simulated game in between. Maybe he can go 5+, but it's really not something I want to go out of my way to invest in the unknown just yet. Like I said, he did get some strikeouts in that outing against the Cubs, but he must have been giving up some hard contact because he's breaking my bomb detector. Like, all of the Indians have like 5+ ratings. So let me go look. Let me go put some context to this. In that particular game log, 3.71 xFIP against the Cubs in that appearance, and on the batted ball data, had a 40% hard contact, so slightly above league average, with a 40% fly ball rate, a 50% ground ball rate, and so it's not bad for like a 1-game sample. So let's see if we can further quantify that by diving a little bit further into his minor league numbers. Like I said, I was watching that game and I did find myself impressed, and I think he was throwing some decent gas too. So we go look into his minor league numbers from last season, 2019. AAA ball, 30 innings against lefties. He allowed a 357 average with a 2.11 whip. 22 strikeouts in 30 innings, so he pitched more so to contact to lefties, and had 19 walks in 30 innings. Man, his little appearance there might have been a case of the Cubs are not great, because this little fingerprint from the minors last year is a problem. 41 innings to righties in the minors, 294 average, 48 strikeouts. So he did strike out righties at a much higher clip, and 12 walks, with 4 bombs to righties, 3 to lefties. So it looking like he could have issues up against left-handed hitting. And guess what? The Indians have a lot of switchies at the top of that order, but Jose Ramirez, Lindor, Santana, all guys with a little bit of pop. And like I said, when I punch his limited metrics into the bomb detector, it completely broke it. It put all three of those aforementioned Indians at the very tippy top. So I think I might be able to. I think I bet that the Indians are better than the Cubs, and that the minor league numbers here for Antone come back to maybe put him in a tough spot here. And then if the Indians can get into this Reds bullpen, that Reds bullpen has not been as sturdy as maybe they had hoped with guys like Raisel Iglesias and Michael Lorenzen. So yeah, give me a little bit of Indians. But just the switchies here. I'm not even in love with Cesar Hernandez, but J-Ram, Lindor, Santana, I absolutely sprinkle those guys throughout my lineups. Indians have an implied run total of just 4.2. Temps in the low 70s. Reds 3.9 implied run total. Tell you what, they're giving the Indians, or at least the Reds pitching, a lot of respect, but with just a 4.2 run total there for Cleveland. That's interesting. Very interesting. Clevenger on the board for me, 9.2K. Like I said, I expect him to get right. A near 41% K rate to righties last year. He's probably going to see more lefties than righties today, but he still struck out lefties at a decent clip. I don't think Clevenger's going to be like a cash game pitcher for me today, or even one of my higher owned pitchers, because I kind of do have a hankering for Dobnak. I do like Yu Darvish coming up. Who else is on the slate? Maybe Kyle Gibson. Maybe he might hit the bubble, but I'll definitely have Clevy in the pool, because even at home he's been really good. Last year, a 3.09 xFIP at home with a 36% overall K rate and keeping the ball in the park. So I like him to positively regress, especially coming off a matchup against a tough Twins team. Let's move on to the next game here. Braves hosting the Toronto Blue Jays. Hyun-Jin Ryu matched up against Sean Newcomb, a battle of southpaws. Hyun-Jin Ryu 0-1 with an 8 ERA, has 9 strikeouts on the year. His velocity dipped slightly his last time out, but he pinned his tough outing against the Nationals on a failure to adjust in-game. With an 8.0 ERA through 2 appearances, Ryu is due to look like the ace the Blue Jays signed this past offseason. Sean Newcomb 0-0 with an 8+ ERA himself. He has 5 strikeouts to his name. He has pitched more like an opener than somebody who wants to stay in the rotation. Lefty has pitched fewer than 5 innings in both of his first 2 starts. Command continues to be an issue as he attempts to find consistency with both his curveball and his changeup. Coming into the season, we kind of suspected that maybe he was overachieving, right? 3.16 ERA last season, whereas Sierra and his xFIP were well over 4, or 4.46 Sierra, 4.61 xFIP. So definitely not surprised to see regression, at least this early. And I've been waiting for an opportunity to stack this Blue Jays team, and I think this might be a spot for me to get behind it. Newcomb, in a sense, does have reverse splits when it comes to hard contact, a near 41.5% hard contact rate to lefties last year, but an over 1 home run per 9 to righties. A little below average on the hard contact. I think I get behind some Blue Jays stacks today. I think the Braves bullpen doesn't scare me much as well. I've been stacking the Braves faithfully as also. I do have respect for Hyun-Jin Ryu here, but Hyun-Jin Ryu is kind of the opposite. I guess he's a similar case. But his Sierra last year was still under 4, but he still had a better ERA than Sierra. And we did see some potential leaks in some metrics like a high line drive rate, hard contact rate is near 37%. So if his velocity is going to be down a little bit, this Braves team has been seeing the ball pretty well. I love me some Acuna, Swanson, Freeman. And against lefties, I always have a chip in a chair for guys like Ozuna and Adam Duvall, even Austin Riley. So I don't mind continuing to go to the Braves well here. And then if they can get through Ryu early, get into that bullpen, I'll throw him as probably one of my supplementary stacks. Maybe not a core stack here because Ryu's still a elite ground ball pitcher. But I've been privy to the Braves as a stack in the last week, and yesterday they came through for me again. But I think I will try and jump on these Blue Jays. Blue Jays have not made a lot of main slates, it feels like. And I think this is a case where they still have some scary pop. Like guys like Teoscar Hernandez, over a 40% hard contact to lefties. We've seen him with a double dong game this season. Bo Bichette, a scary out. Vladdy's a big out. Lourdes Gurriel, Grichuk. Like there's a little bit of a pop in the top 6 of this lineup. So I probably will take some darts on some Blue Jay stacks. Also probably a supplementary stack. Not really a stack that I can core, but I have probably no interest in the pitchers here. I would say that there's maybe a case for Ryu just because the Braves have been off to a cold start, especially against lefties. Almost a 35% K rate to lefties so far this season. But I don't like to overcommit to short sample size results. And when we have a rolling 2-year period for these Braves players, we know that they're going to be a tough matchup for both sides of the plate, including lefties, but there's still a full lineup of projected guys here that have over a 20% K rate to lefties. So I don't think it's a zero-sum range of outcomes for Ryu to be a solid play today. At 9.5K, could he get me 25? I think that's in the range of outcomes. 90, so he probably has 100 pitches in the tank here. I don't know. It's not something I'm ecstatic about. And the Nationals, I also think, is a underrated, tough matchup this year. A lot of people just kind of write them off, but like we saw last night, I like that offense. So maybe it's a get right spot based on the Braves' struggles thus far against lefties and with the high elevated strikeout rate, but it's not somebody that's going to give me the warm and fuzzies to go crazy with. He'll be on the bubble for me. We'll see if he makes the pool, Let's move on to the next game. The Kansas City Royals hosting the Chicago Cubs. We've got Yu Darvish up against Chris I don't know if it's Bubic or Bubich. And I'm sure Damron's out there somewhere about to clip that. Oh, gun cursed. I don't know how to say his name. But Yu Darvish 1-1 with a 2.7 ERA. Darvish was strong against the Pirates on Friday when he struck out 7, generated 18 whiffs, and he walked 1 over 6 shutout innings. He had a 3.09 ERA and 16 starts on the road last year. Bubic will make his second major league start after allowing the White Sox 3 runs, 2 of them earned, in 4 innings last Friday. Adam Engel tagged him for a 3-run bomb in the second inning. So Bubic, I believe, was the kid that came from Double-A, right? Completely skipped senior year in the minors and had to come in through. Okay, we have a package, right? That's how we get swatted. Microsoft. Anyway, if we go last year to the minors, there's the kid. Oh, he had single A. He completely skipped double and triple A. There's the kid that had very, very, very good strikeout stuff. 82 strikeouts, 75 innings against righties, 28 against lefties, and 26 innings. Elevated average to lefties, but had mostly good strikeout potential. And for him to skip Double A and Triple A and come straight to the majors is always a shaky and risky proposition. I'm not really a fan of it. I think you should develop your pitchers, and you can really mess with a pitcher's confidence by taking them from collegiate athlete level talent and putting him against the big leaguers. So we'll see if he can continue his success here. I'm probably still on the wait and see approach on him. But Yu Darvish, absolutely somebody that will be in the mix for me. Probably going to hit the green area in my pitching pool. He looked a lot more like old Yu in that last start. But we are starting to suspect that Pittsburgh might be the worst of the worst and the best matchup for pitching so far this season. So kind of a mix of, oh no, the Brewers game wasn't great, but man, that Pittsburgh game was. 86 pitches in that Pittsburgh game. Did we stretch that to 95 to 100? And up against this Kansas City Royals team, there are some strikeout tendencies, right? We have Jorge Soler, Ryan O'Hearn, Franchi Cordero, Adalberto Mondesi, Brett Phillips all have 25% and greater strikeout potential. There's some more pitch to contact or high contact guys in this lineup as well. Whit Merrifield, obviously a big problem. He's on a tear right now. But I think generally speaking, I can get behind Darvish as one of the better built-in pitchers and talent-wise on the slate. He has the second lowest SIERA coming into the season from last year, with a 13+% swing and strike rate, and a lot of underlying metrics that kind of make you feel confident. And of course, out here in Kauffman Stadium, a much more friendly pitcher's park environment. So 10-4 on DraftKings, you're really going to need a lot return there. 25-30 fantasy points on a normal slate. But 9,500 on FanDuel, I don't mind getting there. I would hope that the Cubs can hold the win here. The Cubs are nearly a -200 favorite with a 5.3 implied run total. Royals just a 3.8. So Darvish kind of really checks all the boxes. We're just looking for a little bit of consistency, and we got to hope that maybe that last start built some confidence. Nonetheless, Darvish will give up homers. A 1.92 home run per night to lefties last year, a 1.41 to righties. Is there anyone in particular we would maybe take a gamble on to capitalize on that? Well, Soler's slugging over .530 against righties the last couple seasons. Maybe a chip in a chair puncher shot for Ryan O'Hearn or something like that, but nothing too crazy. And Whit Merrifield is 5.4 on DraftKings. That's up there. 3.6 on FanDuel as well. But Whit Merrifield's a guy that I think is independent, slate independent. Like, you can play him by himself on almost any slate. He just has a lot of potential to get on base, steal a base, and lately he's been hitting with a little power. So I don't mind having him as a one-off throughout my 150 lineups tonight. But Darvish absolutely looking like one of my anchors today, you know. Let's move on to the next game here. White Sox hosting the Milwaukee Brewers. We're going back to Chicago. I think it looks like another night I'm going to be all over some Brewers today. All over some White Sox. Adrian Hauser pitching for the Brewers. He's got a 1.8 ERA. For Hauser, it's a rematch of July 22nd at Guaranteed Rate Field when he worked 4 2/3 strong innings in the Brewers' only summer camp exhibition against another team. Dallas Keuchel 2-0 with a 3.38 ERA. He has won both of his 2 starts, although he has yet to complete 6 innings. He battled to a victory Friday over the Royals with 2 runs allowed on 7 hits in 5 1/3 frames. He's got 3 strikeouts to his name this season. Man, have the Brewers been disappointing or what? It is a rough start for them, extremely rough start for Christian Yelich. And normally, I look at some of these names here, Ryan Healy, Keston Hiura, Avisail Garcia, Jed Jerko, Justin Smoke. Like, these are some guys that I don't mind historically loading up on, and especially against a lefty. But man, it seems like slate to slate, it's just harder and harder to believe in the Brewers' offense, man. They're off to a slow start. And not only that, they had themselves a little bit of a break because of that Cardinals scare. So it doesn't feel like they had an opportunity to even get some rhythm going. Maybe eventually it'll click. We don't expect Christian Yelich to be in this slump forever. But man, it's a rough time to be a Brewers fan right now. Adrian Hauser, he pitched 111 innings of work last year at 1.24 whip. XFIP and Sierra were respectable, right? Sub 4. So not necessarily a guy that you want to go out of your way to pick on. A decent strikeout rate to both sides of the plate. 1 and 4 at bats and in a strikeout for him. He did have a 4.45 XFIP to lefties and an 11% walk rate. So maybe guys like Yohan Moncada, Yasmani Grandal take advantage of that. Grandal might have caught him last year. 41% hard contact rate to lefties as well. The White Sox are kind of one of those teams like the Twins, like the Dodgers, that, man, this has just been a fun DFS team, and I don't mind continuing to bet on their talent and bet on their ability to get to average plus pitching. Lewis Roberts been crushing it, and he's doing a little bit of everything. Look at him slugging just under 600 so far, small sample size, but also stealing bases, man. Him in this leadoff spot, I mean, he might have just taken this leadoff position from a guy like Tim Anderson. Has been absolutely killing it. Look at this. 1 stolen base yesterday, 2 stolen bases the game prior. 2 hits, 1 hit, a bunch. And when he gets on, he scores because he's helping to manufacture runs. Got a homer out of him against KC, a homer against Minnesota. I mean, his game log when he gets opportunities, man, there's a chance for a decent floor. In this last 4 games, I'd take just about all those range of outcomes at 4,300. So in that leadoff position, should lead the team in at bats, right? A lot of opportunity. I'm a buyer in Lewis Robert, and then Moncada, Abreu, great guys to have behind him to hit him in if he gets on. So give me some Robert, give me some White Sox stack. The White Sox have an implied run total of 4.4, so really, really low. So I mean, Vegas is thinking opposite of me today on a couple of these games so far. And the Brewers are 4.2. So White Sox a slight favorite. I don't hate I want to say trusting. I don't hate expecting the Brewers to wake up eventually. And Dallas Keuchel has been a contact pitcher, especially to righties. And a 4.43 xFIP last year, 281 average allowed, 138 home run per night. Like, there's going to be a game where this kind of blows up on him. And he could also be a benefactor of some softer matchups to start the season. Minnesota's a really tough matchup. But KC gave up 7 hits in 5.1 innings. So 8 whip, right? Not 8 whip, but 8 hits or 7 hits and a walk to go towards that whip. I mean, that's not pristine. Still more ground balls than fly balls. I don't know. I'm not a big believer in Keuchel, more so from a fantasy perspective. But man, could we get one of those wake up games from the Brewers soon? Maybe I stack them tonight. But Vegas is really down on them. They have a low 70s projected temperature, wind slightly blowing in from center. I don't know. I guess I'm on the other side of the ship here. Vegas knows more than me. Let's move on to the next game. Rockies hosting the Giants. We got Logan Webb up against John Gray. The Rockies currently have a 7.2 implied run total, easily going to be the highest on the slate. Logan Webb, 2.35 ERA. He struggled with his command on Friday in his second start of the year, yielding 2 runs, one of them earned, and walking 4 over 3 2/3 innings against the Rangers. He was picked up by the Giants' bullpen, which combined for 5 1/3 scoreless innings of relief. Webb has pitched 7 2/3 innings over 2 starts this season. He'll be up against John Gray. John Gray had a resourceful 5 2/3 innings against the Padres last time out. He wanted to rely on off-speed stuff, but he didn't have it. So he pumped fastballs, and only an inning of poor defense costed him runs. He's got a 2.61 ERA with 5 strikeouts. John Gray, certainly kind of like German Marquez yesterday. Not a guy that I really wake up to go out there and pick on, but it is a Coors-Field game, so you kind of by default have to have some exposure to Giants and mass entry. But really, only Giants that I really would make a priority is Mike Yastrzemski, Alex Dickerson. But Rockies having a massive run total here. At 7.2. They are a minus 168 favorite. The Giants at 5.4 implied run total. Yesterday, German Marquez put up a gem, right? Could John Gray kind of curtain call that at a decent price on both sides? That's a big maybe. I kind of just have a long-standing rule: don't pitch pitchers in Coors. So I probably don't do that. But last year, John Gray had 3.72 xFIP at home. The year prior, 3.16. So it's not like at home he's a bad pitcher, but Coors just has a way of being Coors Field. So I'm probably not going to get to John Gray today, but I'm not like running to stack the Giants here. Rockies will be the core stack, probably the most popular stack tonight. On DraftKings, you got to go up there and get them. 5-5 on Dahl, 5-8 on Story, 6K for Charlie Blackmon, 5-6 on Arenado. So this is definitely not a cheap stack. It's going to be an economically challenging stack to get into your DraftKings lineup. So maybe you do take some shots on some more mid-tier pitchers. Maybe you're a little bit more brave to click the plus sign next to John Gray than I am. Absolutely will not be having Logan Webb in the pool. And like I said, a couple one-offs here from the Giants and some of my smaller entry. But in mass entry, 150 entry, you probably do have to have a little bit of Giants exposure. You know what I'm saying? Let's move on to the next game. Padres hosting the Dodgers. Ross Stripling scheduled to do battle with Garrett Richards. We have Stripling with a 2.92 ERA. He's undefeated. He wasn't in the rotation when spring training was suspended, but he's been a workhorse so far. He's the only starter to get into the sixth inning in both starts. He was an all-star as a rotation sub 2 years ago. Garrett Richards, 3.38 ERA on the season through 2 games. He looks like vintage pre-surgery Garrett Richards. He's been particularly effective with his slider, which has gotten whiffs on 50% of swings. Richards hits 90 pitches in his last start for the first time since June 2018. Welcome back. Here are the Los Angeles Dodgers. Good luck, kid. Implied run total for the Dodgers, 4.3. Padres, 3.8. There's a lot of sub-5 run totals on the slate. I can record and play the Dodgers analysis, man. This is a stacked team. It's a scary team to pitch against. So Garrett Richards is going to be hard to love. But I'm very happy to see him experiencing what looks to be early success in his return. Definitely a guy I like to watch with the Angels. And I think if he can get back to a high level as a pitcher for the Padres, I think between him, Chris Paddock, and Nelson Lamet, and that offense they got, man, I think the Padres are just a couple years away from being a powerhouse team. Even Kirby Yates out of the bullpen is one of the league's best closers. Like, that's a team that's set up. Unfortunately, they're in the same division as the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they're really set up as well. But man, this game and this series, this rival between these two teams should be really fun to watch for the next couple years. So here are two pitchers that absolutely have a case in and of themselves based on their talent, right? But the matchup isn't fun on paper. So I would say if you like some shares of Stripling in deep field tournaments, I might click that button too. The Padres are Tatis, Grisham, Machado, Pham, like those are the guys I'm most scared of. Jade Cronenworth has been a little bit surprising lately, but that lineup does kind of bottom out, right? It folds in half after the 4 or 5 spot. So I can get behind the case on Stripling here because he just has it. He has the potential to strike out 1 in 4 batters. It is a plus pitcher's park. He is under 8K, so I can live with a 16 to 20 DKP range of outcome. Temperatures down, projected to be like 70 degrees. So I don't hate a stab at him. I'm a little more skittish to play Garrett Richards, but at 6,200, man, would you live with 15 if he was able to go up there and get that? I don't think that's a crazy take, but absolutely, I don't like to put myself in a position where I'm rooting for a pitcher against the Dodgers. 11 and 21 DKP his last 2 starts. One's at Coors, right? We're not going to hate him for that. 8 hits, though. That's tough. And then Arizona has not been super scary to start the season, but 1 hit and 3 walks against Arizona. So would like to see a little bit more sample size play out. But this is another game where I'm probably not going to be too results orientated on how he performs against this stacked team. We'll see if Mookie Betts like on the IL or just extended precaution rest. Mookie is day to day with a finger injury, so says he replaced Jock in right field, but he wasn't tested defensively. So he did come back in the game last night. So that's a good sign. So maybe Mookie Betts does hit the starting lineup. And then it just makes the lineup even scarier, right? But I know that the plan was for them to go lefty-righty. So if Mookie is back, you'd probably get Max Muncy leading off. And then this is just a deadly lineup all the way around, right? And then maybe Pollock doesn't start in lieu of Jock Peterson or something like that. So Dodgers have been one of those teams where I just will always have a Dodger stack, and then the Padres top 4, and maybe even Cronenworth is making the mix now, are kind of in the mix. But matchup-wise, there's no reason to love either side, but we're just betting on talent here. Give me some Stripling. I think Stripling makes the yellow. I probably don't play Garrett Richards, but I will have Stripling. And if you guys don't know what I mean by makes the yellow, every day when I dress up my player pool, I have my pitchers in green. Like, these are the pitchers I feel have the best talent, maybe I feel the most confident about. And then the yellow, I'll have a little less exposure. I still like them. Then orange are like, max at 8 to 10 percenters in tournaments. Maybe even that's on the high end. So when I say Ross Stripling will probably hit the yellow, I mean, he'll probably hit this yellow area right here. And I don't think I get the Garrett Richards. Probably not. Definitely not. I don't know. Let's move on to the next game. Athletics hosting the Rangers. We got Kyle Gibson taking on Sean Manaea, lefty versus righty. Man, Lance Lynn was doing all right. And then the Oakland Athletics walked off with a grand slam for the second time this year. Kyle Gibson allowed 3 unearned runs over 5 innings in his first start against the Rockies on Tuesday. He has made 6 career starts against the A's, going 3-2 with a 3.82 ERA and a 1.47 whip. Whip's a little bit higher than you'd like there. Sean Manaea 0-2 with a 7 ERA. He's had trouble his second time through the order. He was tagged by the Mariners for 5 runs, just 3 of them earned. After retiring the first 9 batters he faced, he's in search of his first win in 2020. So this is an Athletics lineup that keeps coming out righty heavy, and I keep considering average plus righties against them. I don't know if we consider Kyle Gibson an average plus righty, but he is somebody with positive splits, a 3.38 xFIP to righties, a 25.4% K rate. So both of those are enough to start to look at him in a plus pitcher's park here in Oakland. And I think because of that, I will have some at 8,200. And he's a ground ball pitcher, so he can keep the ball on the ground, maybe neutralize some power. I'm interested in that. Now, he does have some lefty bugaboos, a 4.25 xFIP, high average allowed, and over 1.2 home run per 9 last year to lefties. But basically, it's just Matt Olson that would take advantage of that. I don't really look at Sean Murphy or Tony Kemp, especially not Tony Kemp, to take advantage of that. So I'd be in on some Gibson here. I don't trust the Rangers offense enough to, give him a win. But if I play Gibson for 16 to 20, I think that's a range of outcomes that isn't crazy. And like we said, Gibson's last game, those 3 runs were unearned, right? So if you take those out, he was just under a strikeout per inning. Maybe the walks are not what you want. But the Rockies have more lefties than the Athletics do. You got David Dahl, Charlie Blackmon, is McMahon a lefty? You got guys like that. So, McMahon's lefty. Daniel Murphy's a lefty. So, the Rockies have way more lefties. So, I think this is one of those spots, and this is one of those teams, the Athletics, where I'm going to keep looking to get strong righty split pitchers. And so far this season, Lance Lynn yesterday, Dylan Bundy, and maybe Kyle Gibson, somebody I go after here again today. We might pull up that pitch report and just cross-reference some of Kyle Gibson's pitches against what the Athletics perform. He's going to throw 50% fastball and 21% slider, and only Sean Murphy, who is a lefty, profile well against that slider. Curveball, we got Matt Olson, a lefty. He could take advantage of that. I'll have some Gibson. Gibson's going to crack the pool. I don't know if he might make yellow just because of this park, but he's not a guy I would play for a win. But I definitely think he could weasel his way to a quality start here. I like that. Sean Manaea, probably going to be a no for me. Last year, a 4.73 xFIP to righties. Was really good against lefties. This Rangers lineup actually projects more righty than I thought that they could do. Just used to so many lefties in that lineup with Chu and Mazzara and guys like that over the last couple of years. But this actually is quite a bunch of righties here. So his xFIP to righties is a little bit elevated. Did have good strikeout stuff to righties, almost a 30% K rate. Low average with the high xFIP, probably a high BABIP, and that would be atypical of the A's because the A's had a really strong defense last year. Matt Chapman, Marcus Semien having really strong performances on that infield. So let me go double check. What was Manaea's BABIP last year? Because I feel like that's where the discrepancy is going to be, right? 2019 BABIP against righties. He had a 150 BABIP against righties. That's crazy. 4.73 xFIP. So yeah, we would expect that to normalize, even though Chapman is great. Semien was having a breakout year defensively. He had been a pan hands type of guy with a lot of errors, but even Laureano in that outfield. So this was a really strong defense. So it would make sense for Manaea to have a really low BABIP. So I think because of that, I'm going to respect the metrics here and not try and target the Rangers. But the Rangers have been so bad against lefties. Sub 200 average on the season against lefties. Almost a 30% K rate. Almost a 200 ISO, so that's not horrendous. But I don't think I need to oversaturate my pitcher pool because so far I feel like I'm generating enough names. If I walk away with 4 or 5 pitchers, I'm fine. And I don't think Manaea is the guy I need to get to just yet. But I could see a range of outcomes where he just does just fine because this Rangers offense just hasn't been clicking yet. So if you guys like Manaea, I think there's plenty of reason to. But I think I'm going to be on the wait and see. 6 hits against Seattle. I mean, Seattle's the... Jeez. 5 against the Angels. No walks, though. He's throwing strikes. And probably another thing to be worried about, he's one of the pitchers that probably still would see 80-ish or less pitches, maybe 85 on a good day. So I'm probably off of Manaea here. But you can absolutely sign me up for some from Gibson. I don't mind that. Let's move on to the next game. Diamondbacks hosting the Astros. Astros bats were clicking for me last night, man. Altuve bomb, the Madison Bumgarner hard contact and velocity drop is real. Lance McCullers versus Robbie Ray, our matchup today. McCullers a 1-0 win-loss record this year, but a 5.4 ERA after allowing 2 runs in 6 innings in his first start in nearly 2 years. July 25th against Seattle, McCullers gave up 4 runs on 6 hits and 4 walks against the Angels. He's walked 7 batters in 10 innings, and I did speculate that that would be something we need to watch because he's a high curveball guy, and curveballs, high curveball guys can tend to be a little bit wild at times, right? Robbie Ray on the other side here, he's 0-2 with an 8.64 ERA after an outstanding summer camp. Ray has struggled in his first 2 starts of the season. Command has been an issue for Ray, and he walked a career-high 6 batters last time out when he allowed 5 runs over 4 2/3 innings against the Dodgers. So I'll keep saying it. Dodgers maybe not a team that I want to be results-orientated against. And the Padres against lefties is a tough spot as well. It doesn't get better for Robbie Ray. So I think as a lefty, to get the Padres, to get the Dodgers, and then get the Astros as your first 3 starts, that's just not fair. But the way the season's set up, what are you going to do? No Robbie Ray for me here. Robbie Ray does have an elevated home run issue against righties. 1.77 last year against righties with a 44% hard contact rate. So he's on pace to be similar to Mad Bum. The only difference is he's missing bats. 13.6% swing and strike rate and a 30+% K rate. The Astros are still the Astros. Slow start for Springer and Bregman, but we saw Altuve with some pop yesterday. We saw Correa with a bomb yesterday. They still got to like this 1 through 5. And even don't hate throwing in Reddicks and guys like that. So Astros would be likely a stack that makes my rotation today. They have an implied run total of 5.2. D-backs are at 4.4. Lance McCullers, if I needed to absolutely stretch out, I could see myself getting behind a little bit of Lance McCullers. One thing I learned yesterday, and maybe I need to do a little bit more research today, is apparently Chase Field switched to AstroTurf, which I thought AstroTurf was like a thing of the past. So if anybody knew more about what that was about, but for them to, in the last couple of years, switch to putting the humidors in that stadium, they're keeping the roof closed this year, and they also have AstroTurf now. So as a curveball guy like Lance McCullers, who generates a lot of ground balls, 58% ground ball rate to righties in 2018, 51% to lefties. Those ground balls play a little bit differently on AstroTurf, and I did see that. That's the reason I knew that they switched, is because yesterday while watching we saw a couple of weird plays, and the announcers were mentioning that the switch to AstroTurf was a thing. So maybe keep an eye on that. I don't want to over alarm. I mean, these are still big league players, but I guess what, Rogers Center had turf, Tropicana had turf. There's not a lot of fields out there with AstroTurf, so balls tend to play a little bit different, maybe a little bit more speed. So keep an eye on that. just throwing that out there. But I will have some Astro stacks. And like I said, McCullers is probably I got to see him find the zone consistently, and so far it's just not been a thing. Go look at his game log and look at his play discipline. 12% swing and strike rate and a 50% first pitch strike. 50% is like the lowest I would like a first pitch strike, but I would love it a little bit higher. And his pitch type, what's his curveball at? 39% curveball usage, so he's using that changeup a little bit more. I feel like he didn't used to. I feel like he used to be extreme curveball. No, I guess that's about it. Well, I updated that this morning to show everything. So he's kind of split it three ways: fastball, curveball, changeup. That curveball and fastball so far have been extremely negative for him, but that changeup's been somewhat positive. I think I got to keep waiting and see on McCullers, watch him develop, get better. If you have a walk problem, it just creates way too many issues to where singles are way more impactful against you than the normal pitcher, and traffic creates that big inning, right? So I'm going to stay away from McCullers. I'm definitely going to stay away from Robbie Ray here, but I'll have some Astro stacks. I don't mind that. And then finally, we got one game left on the docket. Take a pause for the cause. Let's remind you guys that if you guys want access to this spreadsheet for your own research, get access to the pitch report, Vegas odds tabs, the metric charts, the bomb detector. That's a fun one. We got the DVP chart. Also a bullpen usage chart. This is kind of an underrated tab we have. It'll show you who's pitched in the last 5 days for every team out of the bullpen. So if you're playing showdown slates, this is really where it gets a little bit edgy. You can kind of project who might come in and kind of have a couple game scripts in your head, right? A lot of fun tabs here to really expedite your research process. And if you guys want to add this to your repertoire of tools in your day-to-day research, you can do so with a RunDFS.com VIP subscription. Just go there, make an account, click VIP passes, find the pass right for you. One pass fits all. You're not going to get MLB only, NBA only. You get a VIP pass that's going to unlock everything. We have NBA coverage, NBA spreadsheets. We have daily voice chats in the RunDFS.com. VIP Discord, like I said, 60, 70 grinders, all different bankroll levels, playing all different slates on all different sites. Go jump in on that. We'd love to have you. If you have any questions about that, twitter.com/GundackerSports is how you can reach out to me. DMs are open. Main event tonight, the Mariners hosting the Angels. Julio Teheran up against Marco Gonzalez. Julio Teheran's on the slate. Julio is set to make his Angels debut after missing the start of the season due to testing positive for COVID-19. He made one start at Long Beach and will likely be on a pitch count limit. He'll be up against Marco Gonzalez. He's Seattle's #1 starter, gets his second straight shot at the Angels. That's fun. Having held them to 3 hits and 2 unearned runs in 6 1/3 in a win in Anaheim last Thursday. He's 6-1 with a 3.82 ERA and 13 career starts against the Halos. Mike Trout came back, baby game narrative. That was an easy call, right? It was sent one over the wall. Rendon should be in the lineup. Justin Upton was not in the lineup last night. But he's somebody that we're expecting positive regression in his last 2-year rolling period against lefties. Joe Adell, prospect for them, got the call up last night. Maybe trying to fill in for the absence of Shohei Ohtani. But I also think Shohei Ohtani is likely to get back out there as a hitter. We'll pull up Joe Adell's minor league numbers. If you guys played MLB The Show, this card was a pretty strong card to have. So we'll see if they kind of did him justice, right? Against lefties in the minors, Adele batted .324, had no homers, no power there, almost a 400 OBP, slugged .440 with an .836 OPS, so no power to speak of, but somebody that could be an interesting cheapo at 2,100 on FanDuel. Albert Pujols has a couple bombs this season. I don't really want to chase that. Marco Gonzalez, extreme fly ball pitcher, has reverse splits, but the Angels lineup projects extremely lefty heavy. So unless Shohei Ohtani made like a surprise appearance, there's no one to really love other than like a Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, and maybe even a David Fletcher. But I'm not pitching Marco Gonzalez, although he does have a positive positive history against this team. Tehran, there's no reason to get there. He wasn't pristine in his last season as a Brave. 6+ xFIP to lefties, a 4.6+ xFIP to righties. He's at best going to be on a pitch count, at worst going to be an opener. So there's just no reason to have him in the pool. The Mariners might have some bats that you might even pick up here to maybe take advantage of Tehran's struggles last year. High walk rate to lefties with a near 40% hard contact rate. Swing and strike rate was down to 9%. So maybe guys like Kyle Lewis, and if we pick on those lefty stats, maybe J.P. Crawford. Crawford to start this season had a really solid game log. There it is. Lots of double digits, right? 13, 18, 24, 10. Last couple games a little bit drier, but we know the potential he has in him, especially as a leadoff hitter. So far, he's batting .286. A couple ribeye steaks in him. I don't mind playing a little bit of Mariners here. I don't think I stacked the Mariners. I still don't think I'm that desperate, but I certainly think there's some exploitation to be had here. If you look at that Angels bullpen, I am curious. Ty Buttrey, Kenyon Middleton, Felix Pena pitched yesterday. So Buttrey's already pitched the last 2 games. Maybe you see some Jacob Barnes, maybe some Ryan Buckner. Maybe Felix Pena would make back-to-back appearances, but he did pitch on Saturday. But he had 2 days off in between. I don't know. You might get a long reliever behind Julio if he doesn't go that long. Implied run total for the Angels 4.5, Mariners 4.1. So I'll tell you what, on this whole slate, there is not very many 5+ run totals, and that hasn't always been the case. So that's somewhat encouraging, but also makes me like with some of these teams I'm on, like the White Sox and the Indians. When I look at some of these teams and I'm on them and I'm looking at the Vegas total, I'm like, man, Vegas is low on them and I'm high. So the only teams with an over 5 run total today, as of now, the Astros, the Twins, the Cubs, the Giants, and the Rockies. When I broke down the Rockies game, they were at a 7.2 implied run total. Right now, it looks like they're sitting at 6.8. So there has been some movement even while I've been on the air. And even that Indians total has gone up half a run. So maybe those numbers will settle to agree with me a little bit more later on in the day, and I could feel a little bit better. But for the most part, I'm pretty set to where I'm at research-wise. So that is my look, my takes on this slate. Like I said, doubleheader for the Yankees today, so I'm trying to get ahead of all of the work. I'll be back momentarily, maybe within an hour, for an NBA stream. So if you guys are going to play some NBA today, maybe look out for that alert. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't hit that notifications bell and you'd like to be notified when I go live or when I upload new content, you ring that bell and that'll solve that problem, man. Twitter.com/Gundecker Sports. That's where to get me. I love each and every one of you. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Good luck. God bless.